from the box set called The Musical Biography of Quincy Jones. That is the legendary song Walking in Space. And Mike actually asked me, he was like, is that Minnie Riperton? No.
Well, Rotary Connection.
No. Valerie Simpson on vocals, along with Hubert Laws, Rhasaan Roland Kirk, Eric Gale on guitar. It's just and Freddie Hubbard. So great jazz musicians, and this is in that era after Quincy had his aneurysm, where he was contemplating the meaning of life and, incorporating the sounds that were very popular in that late 60s, early 70s. I like to call it my Love American style kind of vibe, which is why I love the Foreign Exchange's Daykeeper so much, because it brought back that same sort of vibe and feel.
It gives you that feeling. Well, but to be fair, Quincy did work much with Minnie Riperton.
Yes, he did.
And had to have listened to at least one or two Rotary Connection albums before this thing came out.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it was the era. Okay. But I want to give Valerie Simpson her due.
Fair enough.
I got a chance to hear her at NJPAC around my birthday. A friend of mine gave me tickets, and Christian McBride's big band was the house band that evening, and Valerie Simpson was one of 3 featured vocalists that evening, along with Liz Wright and Gregory Porter. It was an amazing evening of music.
Well, God bless her. I guess so. If this were Black Jeopardy, I would have had the wrong answers. That's all you're saying.
You would have lost us money.
Us? I'm playing against you. What is Minnie Riperton?
I'm saying,
then you could have buzzed in.
We're an on-air tag team, so technically we'd be on the same team, and you would have lost us money.
That could be very interesting if we do like a quiz show here one day, and we'll do like either Black Jeopardy or Black Family Feud with movies. So
that would be interesting, but it would welcome Mike D.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie Renee. And I see you're wearing turquoise. You don't have your Starbucks this week. We'll talk about that later. I'm sure you talked about that all week.
Yes.
But I know you're a Starbucks fanatic.
This is my first day on the air in 2 weeks, but no, but I had Dunkin' Donuts tea.
Okay, so you're part of the sit-in, the boycott. I just encourage.
No, not really.
Just okay. Well,
I feel I don't think, as far as Starbucks goes, I feel that what we saw manifest itself is systemic.
Yes.
Far beyond Starbucks. But I feel they have an opportunity now to speak into a larger conversation that we need to be having nationally anywho.
Yeah, and managers out there, I hate managerials. It's easier to give out a bathroom code than to dial 911. It's one less digit, but it's a lot less headache. So.
Well, but the larger issue with this is how fast she called the cops. Oh, yeah. I think what I really hope, I said this a little bit earlier in the program, but I'm reiterating it and expanding it a bit for the benefit of folks who are just tuning in, is that there's a percentage of white folks in our society who refuse to accept the notion that calling the cops when Black folks, and particularly Black men, are involved automatically escalates a situation far beyond their dreams about what they've been told that the role of police are supposed to be in our society. And this incident proves it. It proves it. On video, with a white woman who shot the video, the white man that they were meeting to discuss their commercial real estate deal, emphasized. And this is all of for everybody who has ever said, well, they had to have done something else to warrant X, Y, and Z response. No, they didn't. No, this is just where we are.
She might have been drinking a little too much coffee or something. But yeah, they got an excellent service. I watched them on Good Morning America. They came and they wanted to use the bathroom. And it's like, no, it's for customers. Then she came over and asked them if they wanted anything.
Within 2 minutes of them arriving. This is not after they had been posted up for a half hour and she was worried about them taking up a seat from somebody else who would have been a product buying
Yeah, and truth be told, I mean, we go to these establishments, this is in the middle of Rittenhouse Square, because we want the better treatment. We want to pay the extra money for the coffee, and we expect the same service.
It's Starbucks. There's a Starbucks every other block.
There's no Starbucks in the hood.
You go to that particular, no, it's not. And not down here either. There's no... You don't necessarily go to the Starbucks at 18th and Spruce because you want better treatment. I'm saying you go to that Starbucks because that's the one that's closest to the route that you were moving when you were passing through downtown, and that's and you wanted that coffee.
I'm just saying it doesn't work the other way. Like we go to the black restaurants and we have to wait for our service. Like I want them to if they filmed, you'd run out of tape waiting to get coffee at certain establishments that only exist in the hood that are brave enough to have a McDonald's at Broad and Allegheny. I dare somebody to film how long it takes to actually be waiting on. This woman actually walked over to them and said, "Can I help you? Can I get you some water? Can I get you some coffee?" That never happens. So, but antennas went up and folks are paying for it. Yes. Shout out to Ursula Rucker and Lyrispect and all the people that protested and sat in, and I'll just go there today and just sit down and not order anything and see how long it takes for somebody to wait on me. I'm just curious.
Mike is going to test in the field today, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a social experiment, but lest we talk too much, we have my good friend Rhasaan Nichols on the phone, and he's got some other perceptions. He's coming from California, probably from a Starbucks. How you doing, Rhasaan?
It's funny. Hey, good morning. Well, good afternoon for you guys.
A lot of Starbucks in California. Hey, Rhasaan. Yeah, Rhasaan is a filmmaker, a promising filmmaker. He won the last time we did our short film showcase at the International House. His film won the prize, and now he's got a new project that he's working on.
Yes, indeed. So tell us about your new project, Rhasaan.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Stephanie. So I'm pitching a new series. It's called Welcome Back Time. So, long story short, the character is basically who people assume that I am. So he's me if I came from North Philly, went to Yale, and forgot where I came from in a lot of ways. So we're calling him a sunken place brother who has his LA bubble burst following the Trump election. So it's funny enough because just like that Starbucks incident that happened in real life, those are similar things that my character, he experiences in his LA bubble where he's able to kind of exist in these white spaces and everything's fine. And then one day he's getting picked on and like the magic is over. The honeymoon is over. They're treating him like, like an N-word all of a sudden. So that was very timely. It's very unfortunate, but I want to talk about these same type of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you just moved to LA, about a year and a half ago?
Actually, I'm 3 years in LA now.
Wow.
Okay, so what are some of the cultural shifts? I mean, you went out there, you had a hot short film and lots of attention. I mean, how are you settling in? What are the opportunities there for those who are thinking about making the move?
Oh yeah, well, man, I would say choosing Yale was the best decision I ever made in my life. Moving to LA was the second best decision I ever made. It was very difficult at first, you know what I mean? But what I would say, like, for my career, in terms of making progress and connections, I would say, like, a day here is worth, like, a week or, like, a month for me when I was home. On the other side of things, it is like taking all your money and lighting it on fire. So you get what you pay for, you know what I mean? It's just like you got to make that rent every month. You
you're probably stacked in there with a bunch of folks, right?
Well, no. When I first started, I was in a house. I had like 4 roommates, and then I had 1 roommate. Now I finally got my own place 3 years later.
Good for you. Now, believe me, that is the life I live. And as someone who is a Penn alum, I understand exactly what you mean about like best decision and worst decision. It's one of those things where, I chose Penn because Penn was in a big city, and I didn't want to do New York. I was like, New York has too many distractions. I will never be able to make it out of here. So the idea of what you learn about yourself and how you want to position yourself in the world and take that high quality education and apply it in many different ways is a conversation that, some people don't give us an opportunity to express because they've already determined what they think our experience was like on these Ivy League campuses and discount in some ways how we learn about ourselves and our people and how we want to interact with all of that and present ourselves. So, making films about that and living the life that you live is instructive.
Yes. And the series is actually very close to my real life, honestly. So I'm very excited to share.
Yeah. Well, so there's a trailer, Welcome Back Saan, SAAN, that's on Facebook. Is it also on YouTube for people to
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
A YouTube page, and the link should be on the Facebook as well.
See, I'm old. I think Welcome Back Cotter, but you shot part of this teaser in Philly. So you'd still have the connection. But so now this is the tease, and then you're going to raise $8,000 to make a pilot or another teaser to pitch it to, say, a Netflix or something like that. What's the plan?
Exactly. So this is me taking lessons from my last film. So How to Win, I put $10,000 into How to Win with my own money. Then I raised another $10,000 on Kickstarter. So I ended up doubling my budget, but I didn't have a distribution plan in mind. So I realized it's not enough just to make the great thing and just hope that, one thing leads to another and this is going to happen. The market is changed. The landscape is very saturated these days, so I'm out to find what the next window is, the next way through. So this time around, instead of me investing in the full pilot, because in order to make it into the quality it needs to be made, it's going to be about $30,000. So I want to take about $10,000 and just do a proof of concept. So the teaser, I already shot that with my own money in Philadelphia. That's a flashback, actually, to where the character started, which is very close to my own life. He jumped in North Philly because he can't play basketball. He don't have no chain. Right?
Okay.
So where's his chain? Why can't you play basketball?
So, of course, the black girl dumps you because you're not materialistic enough, and you end up in L.A. with a white girlfriend. Is that the plot?
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Okay, so we have to fund this. But anyway. Go ahead.
15 years later, he's got money, he's got a car, he can fight, and he got a girl, but she ain't black.
Okay, take that, Kanye.
It's real.
Well, things happen. There's no rule or restriction. So you need a Starbucks episode. I'll help write that one. You got to go in there with her.
You are welcome.
And see what happens.
My writer's table, Mike. So so the teaser, which I'm shooting here in LA, that's showing the character all grown up. I already started that. I'm already $5,000 in. I already paid for that. That's fine. I'm raising the additional $8,000 to actually finish shooting. I got 2 more days of production next week in LA. Then you got to pay for post-production.
Yeah.
So, really the post-production costs even more money because the production people, they want their money up front. You may never see them again, but post can go on and on. Really right. So so I'm going to make a killer teaser. I'm going to put it to music. It's going to play like a music video. I'm having a party in LA. I'm having a premiere in Philadelphia. And I'm going to invite people, and we're going to make them feel special, and we're going to pitch this thing.
Yes, indeed. That sounds like a plan. Well, I tell you what, I was like, just shout out to the idea that North Philly is also not a monolith, that there are black boys from North Philly who didn't have the shiny chain and couldn't play basketball that can still create a life for themselves and tell stories that we need to see where we can, laugh together and think together and share some common experience in a way that is meaningful. And that's why, filmmakers and TV show producers and writers are critically important, even in these very trying times we're living in right now. So we wish you nothing but success.
Oh, thank you so much. And that's definitely one of the narratives I want to tell, whereas I'm not telling a story about drugs. Nobody's getting shot. So, that might be easier to sell. It makes headlines. But this is a regular kid who was trying to do the right thing. But, he's got and that's a lot of people's story, actually, that don't get a lot of attention.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Without question. Well, I mean, keep writing. I mean, that's for everybody. I mean, you're still in your 20s. Keep writing every idea. Make stuff. Keep making stuff, because that becomes your body of work. It's not about a target or getting things done, but when that does pop off, you want to have your whole archive of ideas ready to go, so you can just bang them out. So, listeners, let's help Rhasaan. So, where do we need to go? I know there's only a few days left in this current campaign, but I'm sure there's gonna be another.
Yes.
But how can we help you?
Yes, well, if you like Facebook, you can just look up Welcome Back Rhasaan. It's WBS the series. WB is in boy, S is in Sam, number 2 series. And we have a Facebook page. I have the trailer there, a link to my PayPal. I'm not doing Kickstarter, not to take anything away from them, but they take out 10%. Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they take out a 10% fee. I'm not going to pay someone for something I can do for myself. So I got a PayPal business account from an LLC. You can donate there. I'm also on Instagram, Rhasaan Nichols, RH, A is in Adam, S is in Sam, A is in Adam, A is in Adam, N is in Nichols, N is in Nichols, ICHOLS on Instagram, and we'll have updates up there as well.
Yeah, and your Instagram, you're modeling now too. You're looking good. I'm jealous. There's a shirt of Rhasaan in the gym right now, so you'll know it's him when you go look it up. But
yeah.
I can't believe it's been 3 years since I saw you last. You were literally packing out the door as soon as you took. I think some of that money went towards Greyhound or something. But you were out of here very quickly, and now I'm so happy that you have more things coming our way, and certainly, as long as we have screens here in Philly, I'm super excited to help show your work, because
thank you so much, Mike. I'm just honored that I can be able to share my work and stick it out here. I'm excited.
You have a friend in Pennsylvania.
Well, you say you have friends, and I hope people really did hear what you said about the sort of time value of your investment. Not that that you're totally casting Philadelphia aside, but the speed and volume at which you can do business and make your negotiations and build your success in LA is what lured you there, and is what's keeping you there and allowing you to tell these stories. So we really we need to build that here in Philadelphia, but in the meantime, you are in LA doing your thing, and we want you to keep your star to keep rising.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. And what I will say is that for everything I learned in Philly prepared me to get through Yale, and also prepared me to stay here in LA. Because after making it through North Philly, everything else was a cakewalk. I learned all those lessons.
Bravo. Well, we will make sure that we repeat the contact information for people to follow you on social media, to contribute to your campaign. And we really appreciate you getting up a little early on LA time to join us here on the air this morning.
Thank you so much.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we got to take our first commercial break, but we will come back with more information about Black stories on film and TV on this week's edition of Reelblack Radio after this. From the album In This Life Together, that is husband and wife duo Kindred the Family Soul, with a song titled The Question, Where Would I Be? And, we are glad to know that Rhasaan has answered that question for himself, that North Philly has prepared him for all the other challenges and the vision of what he is building for his life now out in LA, and being able to use that creativity and those experiences in his storytelling. And we want everybody to feel thusly empowered.
Oh, without that, we don't die, we multiply. But I just can these brothers at least get us a free cup of coffee when they're in the room talking to these people? Hey, can we just? It may be a while before we get the reparations. Some of us, we got blood pressure issues, heart attacks, strokes. We might not all live to get our 40 acres, but can we get a free cup of coffee? Can we get a nice happy day? Back in the day, we'd have Sundays off. We could go down to the Congo Square and do stuff. They don't want us walking in there at all. We need to know our place.
I think that there is a level of how much you yield to that thinking and how much you are committed to taking up space and being yourself in all these different places where we move and where we operate on a regular basis. You know, a lot of debate around the demeanor of these young men in that particular incident. And I say they have lived to fight another day. They have articulated a problem that is very prevalent in our society by conducting themselves precisely the way they did. And I think there needs to be more opportunity for us to say that everybody don't show out in every incident.
They weren't. The woman that was back there, it's funny, all the people filming, they were all like, the cameras were all crooked and off to the side, shooting vertical and everything.
Oh yeah, they didn't want anybody to see that they were shooting.
It's like, right? But I challenge you, if somebody yelled World Star, it would have gotten hot up in there.
Oh, my goodness.
World Star.
But, I mean, you know, two 23-year-old college graduates meeting for a commercial real estate conversation, and people couldn't wrap their heads around that. And the fact that they held them until 2 in the morning behind that foolishness. That's the kind of stuff that make you want to kick Holly in her tush.
But the people filming, they're like, "Oh wow, this I've heard about this oppression, but I'm seeing it for myself. It's really real." And they're filming it and everything. So, but I'm just saying, like, Wawa, the same week they had a free coffee day for everybody last Thursday.
Yes, they did.
And I went in there and I was like, "Oh, I don't even drink this coffee, but it's free. I'll take it." And I walked up to the clerk and it's like, "Well, what do you have to ring off anything? Do you have to check off?" No, just walk out with it.
Yeah.
People were walking in, taking 5 and 6 things of coffee. I'm just saying, Starbucks, take a page from Wawa, or else you're going to lose a lot of business. Just have a free something. You know, we know what it's about. Just be clear on it. Even put their faces on the side of the cup. I don't care, but you need to give back instead of just spending your money to close the stores and train people. Give back to your consumers.
Right. Well, you know what I think is also funny about that is that a lot of people just in their side commentary around this particular issue, and then we'll welcome our next guest, is that in the half a day that they're going to shut down and do this racial bias training, they were like, can they also do some cultural sensitivity to how to spell people's freaking names? I want people to know that it is really a phenomenon. I have friends that have a Starbucks name because they refuse to give the barista their real name because it's too much explanation that has to go in. Yes, to how they spell it. And so they have, you know, something simple like Mary that they give people to say when their drink is ready. Isn't that horrible? That's horrible.
Well, there's a lot for us all to learn.
Yes.
And part of that is this new movie that opens on 4/20.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people.
I was going to say we can have a whole conversation. There are people who still don't understand the 420 phenomenon. We can talk about that to end the show.
Yeah, there's some people in a haze, but I encourage you all, no matter what your state of mind, if you're on coffee, if you're on 420, this is the movie to see this week. Traffic.
Here we are.
It's beautiful.
This is incredible.
Anyway, so how was your drive up here, guys?
Uneventful compared to y'all.
I'm saying.
He was something that belongs to me.
They gotta kill him.
And with us on the line is the film's writer, producer, and director, Deon Taylor. Welcome to Real Black Radio, Deon. Mr. Taylor.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're well and glad that you're able to join us today. We, folks are always looking for that film that they need to be going to patronize in theaters over the weekend. We encourage a lot of first weekend patronage because we want to see more Black films being made. And so talk to us about Traffic.
Man, I'm so excited about this movie, and thank you guys for letting me jump on here and just talk about the film. The movie stars Paula Patton and Omar Epps, and it's an incredible thriller. A couple goes on a getaway, and they stop at a gas station, the regular setup. But what ultimately happens is they discover something that I don't think we've ever seen in film. And this thing follows them and eventually haunts them. And I'm really excited about the movie just because, obviously it's a Critics' Choice film. People love it. But more so, it's a representation of us, right? So it's black and brown people with Rhasaan, Omar, Laz Alonso, Rhasaan Sanchez. It's just a fantastic film, and we're beyond excited about it. So if you like Get Out, if you like The Quiet Place, if you are a thriller fan and you like the old throwback, The Vanishing, or Hand That Rocks the Cradle, this is the movie for you to see.
Okay.
I was gonna say, well, you had me sold the minute that I understood that the male eye candy in this film was both Omar Epps and Laz Alonso. You got me.
Yeah, those two good-looking brothers.
Well, I'll just say it for the guys. Paul Patton loves scenes.
I was gonna say, yeah,
and she's a producer on it too, so
yes.
they're tastefully done. But
Yeah.
and I actually really enjoyed this film. I generally withhold my comments about thrillers and things because they're generally designed for the poster. But right off the bat, you're introducing us to 4 characters that are very textured and layered from the beginning. In terms of how Paula plays it, how Omar, they're all representative.
That's exactly right. And I thought, I think that's what's beautiful about the movie is the fact that I think we represent real people on screen, right? As a director and a writer, what I'm just kind of got to the point where I was tired of was the same old, commercial movie. And I felt like I wanted to see something real. I wanted to see something where people were grounded in reality. I wanted to see couples fight and argue, but then at the same time, have valid arguments. So we put this together, and I just love the Omar Epps character so much. Just being a man's man, right? So he doesn't have a bunch of money. He's not, he works with his hands. He's in love with this woman. He wants to marry her, and here she is, completely driven, career driven, about herself. Looking him in the eyes, but not realizing what she has. And ultimately, they go down go down the rabbit hole together, and he shows her exactly how much he loves her.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the development of this story, in especially because you wore so many hats in bringing it to fruition, from working on the script to actually shooting and now being able to release nationwide in theaters. What kind of time frame are we talking about, and how did you kind of successfully manage being able to be writer, director, producer?
It's tough. I mean, as an independent, obviously you guys know we're an independent company here at the Hidden Empire. So what we're most proud of, is not just the work that we put in, but the fact that, I am a black writer, a black filmmaker. The lead producer is a black female, Rhasaan Avent. And, when you put these projects together, you have to go get finance. And unfortunately for us, we found an incredible black financier, Robert Smith, who came in and financed the film. And, from conception to birth, it's a 2-year process. And you don't have a lot of money when you make these movies. And, you have to really understand you're going to have a 22, 23-day shoot. You got to get it all and get it done. And guess what? You don't get to come back.
Right.
And I think that's the part that over the last 12, 13 years I've gotten better at, just as a filmmaker, being able to understand where to put the camera and what you have to get. There is no tomorrow. And when you get the actors like Paula and Omar who show up on set and they buy in, it's like basketball, right, or sports. If the team is buying in, they're going to give you everything they have, and they'll leave it on the floor.
Right.
And I think this movie represented that. We didn't have a bunch of money. We didn't have a bunch of, big-time studios swarming the set. It was just us on the ground, and we knew what we were making, and we wanted to make it extremely well. And I was more passionate about the movie than anyone, based on the fact that, I have a 12-year-old daughter, so I wanted to represent and show her what this world is, especially with the understanding that 62% of the women that are trafficked domestically are African American and Latino women.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, we need to get on this now.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's a heavy subtext to the story. Now, also, like in retrospect, looking at Traffic and some of the other films that have come before, there are a lot of thrillers. I think like Taken might have been the first movie to really successfully do this. Where you center a movie around one actor and you have them go through the maze. But Halle's done it, and you have Traffic, and then Gabrielle's doing it. The damsel in distress is becoming a new subgenre of black film. How do you distinguish your film, and then what is the relationship with getting a solid talent like a Paula Patton on board?
Well, I think
collaborator.
I think what's interesting is right now, as we kind of talk about all these films that are coming out, the Halle movie and the Gabrielle Union movie, I think it's the year of the woman, right? Which it always has been the year of the woman, right?
Without question.
We're beginning to have to all say it, and people have to understand that. And for me, it's been that way my whole life. Being raised by a single mom, I know nothing else but strong women. You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool to see, these movies being made. What I really love about, what we were able to do and build with Traffic was, blending a real story around a real situation. I think Taken was fantastic in this world, but Taken jumped over what that was. Taken never told you anything. Right? It just was like she was taken.
Yeah. and thankfully had a father who was like, I possess a certain set of skills.
Right? He was the Terminator and Spider-Man.
Right. Well,
he was Spider-Mater.
We're up on a break. Can you hang with us for a little bit more? I just want to ask, like, this new model, like even the #1 movie last week, Quiet Place, is built around a similar model to what you're doing in terms of single locations and giving the actors, the talent involved, more of a producer role and all that kind of stuff. Can you talk about when we come back, the business model that allows these budgets, these new types of films to exist, where you're not necessarily making mega budget tentpole movies, but movies that are designed to entertain audiences worldwide?
Yes, I would love to, yes.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to take our final commercial break of today's program and come back and continue talking about the brand new film Traffic in theaters this weekend. That and much more as we conclude this week's edition of Real Black Radio. Stay tuned. That, of course, is the man formerly known as the Fresh Prince, Will Smith, with his single released last year. You want to talk about somebody who is living their best life, man. He is having a ball. And if you do not follow Will Smith on Instagram, you are losing. I get a belly laugh from him every day with his videos. He really is taking. Yeah. It took him a long time to get on Instagram and really kind of embrace social media, but now he is figuring out the way to work it, and he's in Cartagena, Colombia, filming his next film.
I need to get to Colombia. Right away.
But I was gonna say we have a filmmaker on the line with us talking about his new film Traffic. And Mike, you asked him a question before the break, and I want to make sure that you get an answer to your question and really make sure that we are letting people know to go check out Traffic this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Black Panther came out, we've been noticing like a convergence in 2018. We're with Deon Taylor, writer director of Traffic, and what excited me about you being on the air is with us is I followed you since The Hustle, Charlie Murphy movie. You've always had a great relationship with talent, and you managed to tell some great stories that basically Hollywood is not looking to finance. They want the superheroes, the tentpoles. So where's the lane, and then how does your business model work in terms of making sure that we can continue?
Yeah, man, I just think it's a changing of the guard now. I think for so long Hollywood, look now, we're overdosing with superhero movies. Mm-hmm. I think people are getting tired. I think Black Panther was a phenomenon based on the fact that they finally made a film that spoke to the culture and we could actually look on the screen and see ourselves.
Yes.
And now, this next weekend you got the whole X-Men universe is in Wakanda, right? So it's like, all right, what are we doing, man? But I think people are now looking for. It's a very serious time right now. I mean, you have the Me Too movement. You got a president that we have no idea if we're going to come in. I mean, you have issues with the police. You have issues with Starbucks. I mean, you're trying to raise your kids. I think people are looking to go to movies and be entertained, but at the same time be grounded in reality, if that makes sense. And I think you're starting to see things like that happen. You know, Quiet Place is a great film. You know, obviously it deals with supernatural, but at the same time, it's grounded in something that's really dope. It's family. You know what I mean? And you know, a few years ago, Moonlight was incredible. Moonlight worked so well. Barry Jenkins did an amazing job on that film because it was the first time, you know, you didn't have to be a homosexual to say, I'm going to see that film. I watched that movie strictly because I love the story that was put together. And that little boy that was in that film represented anyone who's been bullied.
Yes.
Right? And if you have a handicap, if you have a disease, an ailment, like he was a barometer for that.
Yeah.
And I think you're starting to see more movies that are meshed with real issues. And I think Traffic is one of those films where you get to go to the movies, you get to be entertained, but guess what? We're also learning something. And we're also, when the movie goes off, it's not 20 minutes later, you're like, yeah, what did we just see again?
Right.
Well, I mean, and Code Black is releasing it. I mean, this is a black film. And one thing I noticed, I was watching interviews with you, a lot of times you work in partnership with your stars. Meet the Blacks with Mike Epps, and then certainly Danny Glover in Supremacy. He's definitely involved. I mean, what is the... Just drop a jewel for people that they have scripts and they want to get them to people, helping to get them finances. It helps to have names. Can you speak to that and how you work?
I think it helps to have names, but I also think, you know, you're in the space now. We're moving past I'm the boss and you work for me. We're moving past that. Now it's the time for us as African Americans. I think it's not about who's on top of the hill. I think you got to put your hand down and pull others up. And I think what happens for me as a director, what I've learned is by approaching a Paula Patton, by approaching a Mike Epps, by approaching a Danny Glover and saying, hey, will you be involved with me in the project? It allows me not to have to pay them the huge amount of money that you would have to pay them because now I'm physically saying, partner with me.
Yeah.
Right? Help me. And then what happens is with that type of energy, you're allowing them to explore another business side to what they're trying to do, right? And then in the meantime, who could beat a revved up Danny Glover if he's making phone calls for the movie?
Right.
Nothing. And I think that's the part of it that you have to understand. But oftentimes, what happens in this business is so many people are so convoluted with it's my credit. I did this, I did that, versus the outlaying picture of we got it done and we all won.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've been approaching Hollywood for the last 12 years, myself and Rhasaan. We've just been really like, okay, here's how we got to do it. We're going to go shake hands with everybody, and we're going to try to figure out how we could build a company with African-American people versus, yeah, here we go, we the boss, and then y'all come over here, y'all work for us. Like, that doesn't work anymore to me. People are not invested in that. So I've come from a team background where I'm like, yo, if everyone buys in, like I said earlier, you get guys diving on the ground for loose balls, right? You get the bench is standing up clapping, even though they're not getting in the game,
right?
And I feel like that's how you have to approach cinema today as an independent artist. You have to get everybody involved. It has to be about a project that we're all rooting for. And here's the thing, man: if you miss, it's all good. Guess what? Everybody got credits. Everybody was excited. Everybody was along for the ride. Everyone participated, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's fantastic about being independent and being able to do what we do now. You know, the reality is if Black Panther didn't work like it was supposed to work, Marvel fires everybody over there and they scrap it and they go to the next X-Men movie and it's not in Wakanda.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's just kind of the business of how Hollywood looks at things. When for us, it's like we have to get our Black voices out there. We got to get our Black people working, and we got to start giving our people credits, right, so that they could actually grow and be and flourish in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, listen, you can drop the mic on that, because I think that the whole the sports analogy that you gave is really relevant for us here in Philadelphia right now, because there is this idea of collective win that has been cemented after the Eagles brought home their first Super Bowl win. The Villanova Wildcats just brought home another NCAA. We're seeing the Sixers do well. There's this idea of success is cumulative that hopefully is reaching people in places where they have not necessarily contemplated it before. And if we can make that happen in the film and TV industry, then we are absolutely winning.
No, that's right, and that's what we have to do. And I'm, I hate to be on the soapbox doing that. I'm an advocate for this, because for so long, for me as an independent filmmaker and just growing out here, even Meet the Blacks. Like, I mean, Hollywood wouldn't let me make that movie. We made that movie for no money. We got it out, but it was Mike Epps. It was Mike Tyson. Everyone was calling everyone. Charlie Murphy was one of my closest friends. He was on the phone dialing people. If we can't do that, we'll never find success.
Right.
And that's the thing. What these people, what they want us to do is be what we've been being, right? Which is pitting each other against each other. So if you're up there, it can only be one great rapper. It can only be one great actor at the time. And for me, I'm looking at this going like, yo, this ain't right. Like, how is it that we can't have Mike Epps and Cat Williams working on the same movie, or Mike Epps, Cat, and Kevin Hart working on the same movie, when I'm watching Seth Rogen and all his brothers and friends on every movie?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How is it that we're not able to do that? Why haven't I seen Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington in a movie together? Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to understand that. I want to understand how Will Smith is. They're telling me he has fell off when this man has been responsible for $5, $6, $7 billion. Right? I want to understand that. So for me, I'm always like, no, man, we got to break the ice now. So we need to do exactly what we did for Black Panther, exactly what we did for Moonlight. We got to all get up and everybody got to go fight and support each other. And we got to be like, yo, that's the movie we're going to see. We putting our dollars behind that so we could do it over and over again.
Without question. I'm so glad you said all these things, and let's stay in touch. I know you have another couple movies coming out this year, and I hope we can be a part of helping to spread the word on Meet the Blacks 2, which has got a different title, right?
It's The House Next Door, which is hilarious.
The House Next Door. So, I mean, very busy man. Thank you so much for giving so much of your time this morning.
Yes.
Folks, go out 420, do what you need to do, but go see Traffic this weekend. Really, you got one of Paul Patton's best roles since Idlewild, in my opinion, and the money's going to come back into making more movies.
Yes, Deon Taylor, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And that was a great conversation, Mike. Thank you.
Without question, yeah.
Listen,
I know some pop culture.
Well, yeah, I was just saying that, we, with just a couple minutes left, kind of speed round, I didn't want us to say goodbye today without talking about the impact that Beyonce at Coachella has had on a national conversation about being unapologetically Black in these spaces. Because we talk about it so often about film and television, there's also something to be said for live stage performance and the way that Beyonce
she just made a whole Super Bowl halftime show.
2 hours of some super Blackness, and it's not me, and I'd say this all the time for those of you who listen to the show and don't necessarily watch the Facebook live feed, that I'm not the one to stay online and watch things for hours at a time. That's just not my thing. I watched the entire set.
So it's
2 hours.
Anytime,
2 hours of Steph on a live stream. It just doesn't happen very often.
Beyonce has the hotline. She just anytime Beyonce does something, it just goes off in people's brains automatically. Because I missed the stream. I watched Coachella next day with Migos. It was not the same.
No.
Same thing. So I guess eventually it'll come out or somebody taped it.
Well, I mean, Coachella is doing their own YouTube live streaming of it. I didn't see it in real time. I saw it the next morning or the next afternoon.
Okay, so I'm gonna check again. When I went the next day, a lot of the Coachella on YouTube wasn't available, just like little chunks. But that's definitely a big hot experience.
Yeah.
And then Yeah. What else this week?
Yeah. Well, I watched last night. And I tuned out middle of last season at least with Scandal. But I did watch the final one, and the same way that Ava scored the coup of having Sade come out of retirement to do the song for A Wrinkle in Time, Stevie Wonder wrote an original song to close out Scandal. That is big deal. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'll just say it's sort of like we are in Wakanda. We have power. We just don't know what we don't want to. Either we don't want to share our power. We don't know what our power is. But you know, to you can't front. Scandal's a black show. You got Stevie Wonder doing the score.
Exactly.
You can't front. You got Wrinkle in Time. You got Sade doing the score.
Yes.
You know, you can't front on it. It's good stuff. And well, Kevin Hart, he needs to just stay seated this next game.
Kevin needs to zip his lip. And
the trash talking doesn't work.
Although I will appreciate, I have not read it yet, but Kevin Hart did the write-up for Tiffany Haddish being in the Time 100. So, you know, and for those people who don't normally read those episodes, people who are you know, either entrenched in the same industry or subject matter of the people that are selected for the Time 100 list get other people, you know, that are close to them to write it up. So Gabrielle Union did the write up for our own Tarana Burke, and the work that she's done with Me Too. And so just powerful stuff.
And Ava DuVernay wrote Ryan Coogler. So there's you know, it's the eclipse is coming.
Yes, it's
so
coming.
to speak. You know, and Saturday Night Live, it's the blackest it's ever been in 40 something years. I think they've had 5 black hosts and more to come. And
I was gonna say,
Cardi
and
B
Donald Glover will be doing double duty when he hosts in another 2 weeks, I believe it is. So he'll be the featured actor, and Childish Gambino will be the music act. So you know, more power to him. We got to talk about that episode too at some point, but we can't do it today.
Yeah, we do have to go. But yeah, they definitely flipped the script because there used to be an unwritten rule: you can't have 2 black guest hosts back to back on SNL, and that's happened I think twice this season. So so they know what's trending. That Black Jeopardy sketch and Cardi B and all that stuff is good for Twitter.
Cash in, folks, cash in, and keep telling our stories. Thank you for another great show, Mike. And next week we hope to be on the road. We'll give you more information about where we'll be broadcasting from as we lock down those details. Stay tuned for more great programming here on WURD. Brother Shamari is up next. Until next time, take good care, y'all.
Reelblack keep spinning the movie stack. Give you quality and make it keep coming back. Whether you're large or you're independent, Reelblack, the Philly film establishment.